A pleasant good evening to each and everyone in Georgetown, Guyana, the diaspora, and elsewhere. Fellow Guyanese, friends all as much as my critics and those who want to consider hate my enemy. But I want you all to understand this clearly. We are heading to the new year. Many of us don't know who will be able to make that line, but we hope for the best. My last video I put out there telling you the truth. I stopped blaming politicians and blaming priests. But I'm going to tell you here today, and this is not only about Guyana, it's the world at large. The choice we make is that what we must live with. Today, I went to the military facilities to pay a visit as usual, like I usually do. And I was put to sit down, and I was given a schooling. And while they were speaking, they were looking at me. And the word that came out of them was plain and simple. If a man is drowning, and you stretch your hand to save his life, and you do, but every day you pass, it's the same person are drowning because they are jumping in the water, you might end up dead and they go their way. Leave them, let them perish, let them die. And while they were speaking, they were looking at me. Then it seems that they couldn't take it too long, and they said, there is a person sit amongst us, one who should know better. But he would like to help the whole entire world, regardless what they do, what they say. Ladies and gentlemen, I know they were speaking to me. And the lecturer make it clear. You cannot help anybody if they don't mean to help themselves. And a few things you should not get involved in. And I think they take that piece from me, but they add their own. A religious conflict, a racial conflict, and talk about slave. You will never win these things. And the few people you must be careful with, a politician, a preacher, they know how to talk to bring you to destroy you. From the beginning of time. Even the prophets suffer. And when they are gone, we see today what happening with these preachers. Big fancy house, cars, plane, living luxurious life. And all they tell you about what somebody said Jesus do and Jesus say. Because there wasn't there. Some of them got big houses, plenty empty room, they're minding dogs. But in their congregation, their poor people need help and they don't. Which brings me back to a story in Georgetown, Guyana, with a man named Chuck that I grew with. In Latry, Pakistan, there was a woman living there, have a lot of children, but no husband. Unfortunately, things happen. But she was living rent-free in Chang house. Free water, free light, for years. And when she will need little assistance, he will give it to her because the children and us grew up together. But this woman made a very great mistake one day. It was an election time. Burnham versus Jagger and the PPP and the PNC was running for election. Only the two of them want to rule Guyana. This woman's children was 10 years, 6 years, rising under 16, by the way, a few of them. She was dressed like an African descendant because she's black. First time we have ever seen, I would not give name because of the family, and she's departed, but I give you the story. What this lecturer bring me to remember. The man was sitting on the front on the landing smoking a cigarette. While she come up from the back well-dressed, a minibus pick up her and all her children. But before she could get out to join the bus, the children was inside before her. She said, Chong, you sit down, you're not going and vote? He said, no, I'm not going to vote because none of them is good. And I ain't got nobody there who I like, so I'm not going to vote. She said, Chong, that I am a black woman and I'm going to go to vote for the black man to put him in power. We are not going to give up power in Guyana. The Chinese man smoked his cigarette. I was there. Ladies and gentlemen, Burnham declared the winner, but this woman was there to about 12th place to vote, she and her children. And proudly, they give her some food, some clothes, and every time they make a trip somewhere, she said, we going to win this election landslide. And we black people are not going to give up power. Chong is not black. He's not an Indian. He's a Chinese. And the country of Chinese, Portuguese, white, as the same European, and blacks and Indian, a mixed race, and the native Indian. I did not pay much attention to what the woman was saying, but that Chinese man smoked his cigarette. Following day, he said, she come out, she said, we win, Chong. He said, yeah, that's good. He didn't tell her another word. Couple of weeks after, he said to her, now she come to him and she said, Chong, you don't have a few dollars, give me. So I could buy a little rice and sugar and flour for my children. Chong replied, no, I don't want to call name, no madam. But I will give you a passage from the East Bank to Big Market. And you walk by the Gare building, you will see them little mini bus or taxi that just drive and go by the zoo and things going there like they go to lodge in their place. So I'm going to give you two fares, one from here to the market, and one from when you join the bus to where Burnham live. He said, the zoo is over there, there's a house right there. I want you to go and tell him what time you vote and you put him in power, being a black man towards a black woman, and how many black children you have. I was offended. And I said to him, why you tell her that? He said to me, you sit down and learn from these people. And I give it to you the way he said it. He said, Koli people, they are not a racist people, but they are corrupt, covetous, vindictive, spiteful, and very ungrateful. They will do anything to accomplish their goal. They'll kill their mother, their father, their brother, their sister. They'll obia. And you have good amongst every race, George. But what you see is what you deal with. 3 months pass. He says to the woman, I am thinking to break down my house. I think you must find a place. She was very upset. She was catching water from the pipe. She said, John, when we go with all them picnic? He said, go to Burnham House, the man you put in power. I said to him, Daddy, why you do that? He said, these are the kind of people that live like parasites, and these are the ones that destroying other people because you are helping them and they're voting and doing wrong to keep you down. Let you go to the man she vote for. I was pissed off. I said, but when are you going to do the house? He said, the quicker she get out. Iris remaining there for the next few months. She's not saying anything. He received the tax paper for the house, which doubled the water bill, and he said, look, this is what you vote for. I need my place. She said, well, we can't go out of this place now. We have to look for a place. He said, well, I'm going to tell you something. We not pay the water bill and the light bill. The same black man leader you put in power, they going to cut them off. So the black woman and all the black children going to suffer. Can you vote for them? I think what this Chinese man said, and I was very pissed off, ladies and gentlemen. But sometimes you have to deal with a hypocrite the way they deal with you. And eventually, she had to move because he make the water go, the light go. He pay his tax. Somebody maybe help her find a place. The man rather mind dogs in the place instead of having a human like that. He says, never learn from this. They are putting a weight on you, and they already got the weight. And if you want to carry it, listen to me, young man. The Good Samaritan died a pauper. And it's people like them kill Jesus for a few dollars and a loaf of bread. I couldn't argue. I live to see the same. I live to see the same. But yet for all, ladies and gentlemen, there are good and bad amongst every nation, every race, every religion. And then he told me again, be careful with the priests that shouting Jesus, Jesus, Allah, Allah, or Bhagwan, or God. You should check them out. What the wrong they are doing to people. Pray in your house. They are good ones. But for you to find the good ones, you might find a diamond ring in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean if you go below there before you find a good preacher. They are all hypocrites. I can't understand this thing being a young man. But everything that man said to me, I live to see come to pass. Okay? A priest in Africa told his congregation to sell their property and bring the money to him so he can buy a place in heaven for them. And you all have learned from Jim Jones. And you have learned from David Crush. Same thing in Texas, I think it was. And many other of these fanatics. Today we also have priests in Guyana who've been accused of raping women. And they're involved in plenty embezzlement and plenty underhand deal. And praying a little water and robbing people. Having sex with men, wife. I know what I'm saying. Some of them become contractors from other countries into Guyana. And as a priest, if you're telling me about Jesus, Muhammad and others, and you do not know them, and you got a congregation, and you have a contract company doing work, building, painting, and you make an agreement for something, you should stand up to your obligation. Even if certain priests, people who work for him complaining they can't get paid. And I know a young man who gave this man his money to do his job. Then the priest come back victimizing with other schemes. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't call people names. I spoke to the priest. In this modern time, he told me, but somebody called him and threatened him that he know the person who he have the problem with. I spoke to this man, and maybe he's digging, who knows. But I want you all to know, we had enough problem in Guyana with corrupt politicians who run the courthouse with corrupt judge and magistrate. And the criminal people in the uniform as police officer and prosecutor as the court decision officer. How can we trust the politicians, the preachers, the lawyers, and also the judges and magistrates and the police? Today I'm appealing to all of you in Guyana and the rest of the world. Turn away from corrupt politicians and priests. You don't have to go to church to pray. Pray in your yard. Pray in your house. Allah, Bhagwan, and God will accept you. And for you Hindus, nothing personal. If your mandir in your house got God, you don't even need to pray because you got God in a prison. When God should be in the open air. Because God is not a stone. He's not a bell nor a shell, a snake, a cobra, a lion or a tiger. He's an invisible God. My friends, but you to each his own. I live to see a few gods in Guyana, but they're dead. God number 1, Burnham, LFSB. God number 2, Chedi Jagan, Barabbas, and Judas. Look at the alphabetical letter. A liar, son of a effing bitch. And look at the other one. CJ, Chedi Jagan, Judas Iscariot, bastards, and I want the Indians to know, if the Yard did not coalesce in the 60s to form a government, many Indians would have been killed because the black race in Guyana, and not all of them, the illiterate, ignorant one, Tiger Bay, Agricola, Rumwell, Mocha, Buxton, Pleasance, and about 18 other areas like Mackenzie and Wismar, Den Amstel and all those places, Troutwell, where Indian was attacked. And at the same time, when they start to retaliate in Lenora, Grove and Hostel in the Indian, it was wrong, but again, many black people get beat representing Indian neighbors, friends and family, as much as many Indians end up fighting to safeguard the neighbor Thomas, Henry, Jefferson, or Marlin, or whatever, what I'm trying to tell you. There is good and bad amongst everything. Not everybody is bad. But when you speak, we use it in such a way that we can offend the uneducated. But for the educated and wise, they know what you're saying. Take the United States of America. It's a great country where the colonial masters slaughtered the Indian and take it. France, England, and I think a few Scandinavian countries, if I remember right. Today, modern European children and African slaves inherit it. And America fought in the World War II, and there was an agreement called the Monroe Doctrine and the Geneva Affair, where America controlled certain area because nobody wanted to live under a dictatorship such as communism like we see in the past. We were very fortunate. That is why I says America gets what America wants. Mr. Barajaglia studied in Russia a counter-information, it's alleged. Then Mr. Maduro of Venezuela are very close link to Russia. Russia give them planes and maybe guns. Cuba also is a footstep of Russia. That Kennedy told them, Mr. Khrushchev, turn the ship back or there will be no more Cuba. And that would have been true. They turned it back. America entered many wars for a thing called democracy and human rights. But yes, they're not 100% right neither. They have a lot of square pegs in wrong hole like what happened to Guyana. But it's still Canada and all these places. And I will say clear, not all black people hate white people. And this thing of slavery got to stop for this new year coming. We were slaves. We ancestors were slaves. Mr. Ali, the president of Guyana, went to the UN, an Indian descendant, son of Indian immigrants, who arrived to the shore of Guyana, gave birth to his family, who gave birth to him. And he spoke in the UN General Meeting about the Pan-African slave trade and called for reparation for the black slaves. Then he went to England and he was criticized. Comedians make joke about it. And guess what kind of comedian? Black comedian Africans. My friends, was he trying to gain the support of the black soldiers and police in Guyana or the criminals? Or was he afraid of them? Did he ever stand up to stop to think what they have done to Indian in Mackenzie, Wismar, and other places? Did he ask for reparation or respiration? Then what must the Amerindian ask for both race as a matter of migration or divide the country in their own country? But you tell me about Allah, Bhagwan and God. But yet for all, the Indians still deny the Amerindian their rights. And why, when you claim emancipation, you already given up your birthrights to the country? Then you should go back to whatever country your ancestor came as slaves. But what did you do to your woman? How many child mothers and child fathers out of the same race that talking about slavery, what have you done to your women? Tell me. You can't lie to me. I got black blood in me and Indian blood in me. I have a right to tell both of you how I think. But there's good and bad amongst people. I have black relative. I have Indian relative. And be honest, the black relative of mine are very insulted when they get ready, but not all of them. And to make it clear, I want you to know, the Indian, they act selfishly and they try to shun you. But then they still have some good family member into that area that I can praise. In my life growing up in Guyana, black people were closer to me with love and affection. There was concern about my safety. During the time of riot, I was a young boy. They will make sure I'm in the yard. They were more to me than a mother and a father. But Indian will humiliate me, insult me, criticize me. And if they're more educated, God have mercy. I hear they call their own dogs parasite, donkey, because they love to embarrass people and call you hungry belly, Indian. I'm not lying. But yet, you run to the temple of God, worshiping Him, calling upon Him, because you want salvation while you help to create starvation. You hypocrites. Wake up for the new year. And I have a message for my black brothers in the Caribbean and in America and elsewhere. Stop talking about slavery and black life matters. All bloody life matters, because man was created by God, not white man, black man, brown man, green man, or yellow man. Okay? And I'm not talking about Yellow Man, the Jamaican singer, or Mr. Blackman in Guyana and elsewhere. My friends, I hope you understand what I'm telling you. God made man into His own image and likeness. We put color to them. And when the European take country and colonize it, they change the geography by starting to zone it off and make boundary. Today, in Mother Africa, beautiful continent, even though the European is not there ruling it, there are war and rumors of war and hunger in the land of African continent. Educated children, people, have to leave to come to the European country as the white man country. And the closest to the African blood is the Arab. And when you go to Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Qatar, and Egypt, and Libya, they enslave you, beat you, rape your women, kill you, and nobody say nothing. It was on Facebook. And I gotta say, it's alleged, but I see that on Facebook. But not everything you see and hear you can follow, that's what I'm going to use. It's alleged. I want a Guyana for all Guyanese. And I believe that we had enough of black leadership and Indian leadership. And I believe the court system must not be interfered by politicians or anybody because you're a racist and it's a black judge and you commit a crime, but because you're black, you take inside. If not, it will come a time all of you got to go back to Africa. And the decent one will have to stay. And for the Indian corrupt businessmen, because you got money, you could kill and beat and accuse people, bribe the ignorant black police and black judge and magistrate to do your nasty work and lock up innocent people. You have children. They will eat the filth that cometh from their ass. The curse of darkness will behold all of you, from the ministers in parliament to the courthouse, to the military, to the police force. You might be young and powerful now, but you will live to see when they come with your bloody children. And for those so-called priests coming from all over into Guyana, holding contract to do jobs, and don't stand up to the obligation but tell you about Jesus and God's house, but cannot live to an obligation of a contract to finish a building, but creating problem and believe they can do what they like. I have a message for you. I spoke to a priest. I have nothing against the man. We give away a lot. Also today in my teaching, we were told, but they were looking at me, stop helping those who vote wrong people because of religion or color. Let them suffer. Let them go to the people who they vote for. And that brings my memory back to church and the story that I told you. Come on. You mean to tell me a dog have more sense than you, the human, and 2 legs? That you rescue a dog or an animal and take care of it, it never turns its back on you. But you, the human, race, religion, and because you have money. And another thing, Guyanese, many of you have a tendency when the president, the prime minister, and the attorney general walk here, surround them like if they are God. Stop it. They are nothing but a human being who one day will close their eye like all of us. Y'all allowing it. Y'all causing it. And when a priest tell you, in the name of Jesus and in the name of Allah, y'all start to cry and give away everything. Take care of your family first. Take care of your children. Unite with your neighbors. The politicians are your enemy. And the courthouse is the agents of the corrupt politicians. Guyana do not have a judicial system. I saw Mr. Ramjatan criticizing the PPP. He better get that letter for me because our hands are clean. And let it be known, we are not here to hurt nobody, but we are not going to sit down and allow y'all to continue hurting us. Okay? I was in Venezuela, where I interview a lot of Guyanese who living there. I've come back to America in Queens, and this was the exact word. We will support Maduro to take Guyana. And they use it straight when the black man do a bit. It was not only the black man, what the coolie man do to them too. It's the two together. I see they say, somebody want to form some kind of party, Van West Charles will be in it, and there's Burnham. I think his son-in-law, if I remember right, is alleged. I got to use alleged because my friends in Guyana. You should have a piece of land to build your house. And now that the oil is there, everyone should have been given a damn good salary. And the police force, the military, and all civil servants should start to mix up. What happened to the Amerindian, Ali? You talk in England about reparation for the slave trade when you had nothing to do with it. You went to the UN and you speak. What happened? And I read in some paper, some supporter, they got to be black, the way they're writing, is a coolie government. I don't know, they're not Portuguese. They're not Chinese. They are not mixed race. How much people will you all kill and walk away? When you have children and grandchildren and you have family, brothers and sisters, niece and nephew, answer me. How much y'all go to jail when you have relatives? If Muhammad can go to war, George Correa can go to war too. If Moses could drown the Pharaoh, and these are the prophets, George Correa is not afraid to start. But guess what? My God didn't teach me that. We all have blood in our body. Respect me and I respect you. We cannot live without each other. The black man, nor the white man, nor the brown man, or the yellow man, or whatever man, we cannot live without each other. Why don't we unite, help each other, and work for something greater? Don't vote for a man or woman because they are your color, or your nationality, or because they belong to your church or your religion. Vote for one who have a vision for the people, like the late Colonel Gaddafi of Libya, who says his mother will never get a house until every Libyan get one. And he died and fulfilled that dream, ladies and gentlemen, and he was murdered in the gutter in Libya. but it was a political thing. And what was his charge? According to information, it's alleged, he was trying to get a certain currency to change the West and make people don't depend upon the money lenders in Europe, IMF and all of them. And according to it is alleged, that was his charge. But let it be known, today, in this world of today, we can live in peace, love and harmony. But we must not use words like black man, coolie man, Chinese man, white man. We are human beings. It's time to change. We can't go back 100 years, 500 years about slave when the prophet of God also was slave. Is anyone of you better than God that he allowed his prophet to be a slave? And as they say, his son Jesus on the cross? Hypocrites! Come on! With this, the Ali government is doing good. They're spread out. But again, Indian people love money. Paisa. That's what they love. Paisa. They don't care about one another. You black people in Guyana should see, if you live next to an Indian neighbor or in a village, you see how they're killing each other, cursing and insulting one another. While you only get wind up to beat and fight for politicians. And then when you're over the politician driving a BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and you walk in bed with no mercy. Are you stupid? Wake the hell up! So all who marry in racial affair, Indian marry black, black marry Indian, and all you marry different race, you deserve an award where you have crossed the thing of humanity to show that we are all God's children and creation by Him. So we must stop this racial bullshit and this religious problem. If Muhammad is a prophet of God, Jesus is a prophet of God, Moses is a prophet of God, and Abraham, then why are we fighting one another? And the Hindus with all the dhotis and datis, or whatever they call it, and India don't even accept an Indian when Uganda put out 1 million of them, and Burma chasing them out, and India ain't taking none. They have to end up in Bangladesh. And the other day I hear Pakistan putting out some of them too, my friends. But the European, the same white man that once colonized your country, that you drove him out from, is the one who's rescuing the black and the brown and the yellow. Isn't that a shame? You drove me from your house and I give it to you to walk away. And now your children and grandchildren running coming to mine and are rescuing them in the same ocean the slaves have crossed in those days. And we are rescuing them before they drown. Bring them, give them medical and try to help them. Where are the Black Lives Matters and the Black Power movements? Every nation have a problem. It's time for we, the next generation, to be united and put our hands together and help each other and make this world a better place for the future of humanity. And whether you call yourself a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddha, we serve one God. I don't have to kill you because I'm a Muslim and you're a Hindu, or because I'm a Hindu and you're a Christian, vice versa. If we are worshiping the same God, it's only different name. Then we should not, if we are Indian, we should not listen to Chinese and get them in our countries. And if you are Chinese, they shouldn't have other people in the country because you don't know the language. Language is the big barrier between all of us. That when we start to understand each other, communication makes life better. And whether it's a black woman, a white woman, a Chinese woman, or an Indian woman, any man have sex with them and they are fertile, they can bring forth a child. Think of it. Can you piss on a rock and breed it? No. Can you go to bed with a man like yourself and breed him, even though he wants to be her? I don't mean Ben-Hur, her. My friends, think of what you're saying and what you're doing. We have suffered enough. And yes, all race fight against one another. So today I want you all to come together and unite for humanity help each other. Down with this corruption where there's a two-party state. Why a third and fourth party don't get a break? Why? I one God and one devil and they're changing it steady? The country become a woman with two men beating her, destroying her. She's still taking them back after every 5 years? Then she had to be a bloody good whore. My friends, I want you to understand. I am your host. But before I get to that, I want you to subscribe to my channel. And press the button so you will get the updated video. And I am your host, George Correa. Thank you for listening. And if I offend any one of you, I apologize. But at the same time, I'm not responsible for your qualification or your education or your nationality. Let's live together under this blue sky as we are all human, God-chosen people. Have a good night. Peace. Good luck.